Hello, beautiful. I wanted to make a video for you. If you want your man to step up and you feel like you've been doing so much of the work and your man, while he's supporting you, even if he doesn't get it, you just wish that he would be growing at the same rate as you and you wish that he would be leading more in your relationship or in your business. This video is for you. And it's been inspired by so many conversations that I've had in the last 7.5 years since I have opened the doors to my own coaching practice. And helping up until this moment, I've helped so many female entrepreneurs succeed in their business and manifest their dreams and achieve these amazing things. And if you've been following the journey, you would have seen the recent shift where my husband and I are focusing more on supporting you in your relationship. And that shift came from really looking at the trajectory that we were headed on as a company, but also what my clients needed the most to be able to take them to the next level. And most of them are, there's a range. Some of them are just starting their businesses. Others have already created 7 and 8 figure companies, but they're looking to go to the next level. And when looking at, well, what is it that actually makes someone successful, and what is it that makes a business successful, and what is it that makes a female entrepreneur successful, the number one factor that I couldn't ignore was down to behind the scenes what's going on in your relationship. And you've probably heard it before, the person that you choose as your partner, the person that you choose to do life with, is more important than the type of career that you choose in terms of your ability to create money and create wealth and succeed in your dreams and achieving what you want. And so I'm assuming that if you're here and you're having this conversation, you and your partner, your husband, your man, your boyfriend, whatever, wife, whatever, you want your partner to step up. You want your partner to rise with you. And you're probably a very powerful woman, right? If you're wanting this conversation, you're probably doing something in your life and in your business that most people don't. Most people won't want to do it. Most people don't do it. You're achieving way more success than the majority of humanity, than the majority of society. And what I notice so often is while you and your partner might have been best friends, or maybe you're still best friends, there is this undercurrent of, why can't he just grow at the same pace as me? Why can't he just lead more? And so if we break it down, we break it down a little bit. Let's look at it. What is it for a man to lead? Well, for a man to lead, that means that it's not that he's in control, right? But it is that there is this emotional presence that he has, or he has direction. He is guiding your family or your partnership, and he is the one that is taking charge. He's making plans. He is the one that's initiating a connection or intimacy a lot of the time, right? Like a man in his power, he is going to be the one that is taking the lead a lot of the time. But the problem happens when you're so successful in your business as a woman and you're so in your power, which, let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate the heck out of that. And let's give gratitude to the woman before us that paved the way for that to even be possible. But what I notice is that it creates this imbalance and polarity in the relationship. And so many women have come to me over the years and they've asked for my help to grow their business. And what we end up working on is so much behind the scenes around that femininity and feminine leadership, to be able to lead in your business and have success in what you're doing, but also keep the passion alive and have a relationship or a marriage where you're growing together and not necessarily doing the exact same thing. Maybe your partner's going to join you in the business. Maybe they work with you in the business. Maybe they don't. But you want a man who's going to, make love to you like a man, and, act like a man. You don't want a man not in his power. It's not sexy. It's not a turn on for us, right? And this is the disconnect that happens. And the truth is, if you're constantly in the driver's seat and you're constantly making the decisions and you're the one that is deciding everything. I'm not even just in your business, like you do with you in your business, but if in your marriage and in your relationship, for example, he's like, where do you want to go for dinner? And you're like, you choose. And then he suggests somewhere and you go, no, I don't want to go there. Right? Like all these little things or these little criticisms, or he does something and you criticize what he does, a decision that he makes for you. You know, you ask him to put out the rubbish and you criticize the way that he does that, or that he didn't do it on your time frame. All these little criticisms or critiques or these little digs, they're essentially telling him emotionally that it's not safe for him to lead. You're telling him by the way that you're trying to nitpick at every single thing and have a say in every single thing that goes on in your home, in your household. I'm talking outside of your business, right? This is amplified if he's working in your business or he's helping you in your business, and then this is also happening at home and you're also then telling him what to do, or telling him that the things that he's doing, or he goes to the grocery store and the brand of soap that he gets isn't the brand that you like, and you criticize him for that. You're like, why did you get this brand of soap? I don't like that brand of soap. Or apply that to whatever. All these little things that you're doing, he's trying to support you, he's trying to lead, he's taking initiative, and you're then criticizing him for how he's doing that. And for me personally, you know, I noticed that when I was the only one, right, before Dane and I changed our dynamics in the business, when it was just me that was responsible for making the money and he was helping behind the scenes. He would do stuff like he would do the household washing for us, and he would do all the laundry, and he would put the dishes away and do the groceries and organize dinner most nights. And he just did that because he knew that my goal was to take my business, this is what I always say, it's my business. I have built this from the ground up. And I would have this energy and this attitude of this is mine. And I would do things like, you didn't hang out the washing properly, or you took it off the line and you didn't fold it right away. So now there's crinkles in it. And you could have saved a job of not having to do the ironing if you'd done it. So, like, I'm just nitpicking. Like, he's taking the initiative. He's doing stuff for us as a team around the house. The house stuff needs doing. The business stuff needs doing. I'm responsible mostly for the business stuff. He's responsible mostly for the house stuff. But I'm there nitpicking how he's doing the stuff that he's doing for us. And then I'm like, why aren't you stepping up more? Right? Why aren't you stepping up more? I'm wondering, what is it that you're doing? And it wasn't until I went on this journey of tantric exploration and really looking at, where am I not being in my feminine, right? I'm in my masculine so much of the time leading business, but in my relationship, how do I take my marriage to the next level? And it was these little things that I noticed that I was doing that was creating this imbalance in the polarity, right? And so again, no need to beat ourselves up. You're amazing. You've created so much success, and that is freaking amazing. And he supports you so much for that. I bet he's so proud of you. But in order to take your business to the next level, in order to take your marriage to the next level, in order to take your intimacy to the next level, there is this deepening of our feminine that needs to take place as women in our relationship specifically. And when we look at why why we do this, why is this happening, why do we do this, it's pretty obvious, right? Most of us are so much in our masculine when we're doing business, when we're running our business. We're looking at spreadsheets, we're looking at P&L statements, we are making decisions, we're taking risks, we're leading, right? We're charging forward. And so when it comes to then bringing our mindset into that wife energy, girlfriend, partner, right? That wife energy, most of us aren't switching off properly. We're not switching gears. And so that CEO mindset, that masculine mindset that creates success in business, right? Without it, none of us would be having successful businesses. Without it, we would just be floating around in our feminine, right? That's not a way to grow a business, right? Nothing would get done and just give me whatever, right? Like, so let's celebrate the fact that you can be in your masculine, and let's work on also dropping into your feminine, right? Because it's when you can get into the energy of trust, it's when you can get into the energy of surrender, it's when you can let him lead that he's now got the space to lead. And that's what the feminine does, right? The feminine doesn't tell him what to do, right? You're not going to lead him like you lead your team. You're going to invite him to rise by leaning back. I like to do this with my posture. I mean, there's a whole bunch of how-to stuff, which we might go into in some other videos, but I really wanted to give you context of why this is happening, right? And some of the shifts you can start making to help him rise more. Now, in every relationship, there needs to be polarity, right? If you've got two people in their feminine energy, nothing's going to get done. If you've got two people in their masculine energy, you're going to butt heads all the time, right? I see this a lot, especially when people are getting together and they're two successful entrepreneurs. They get together, they butt heads a lot, right? Because there's a power dynamic that needs to happen. That usually happens within the first year or so of dating, and you decide, okay, how's this going to look? How are you going to move forward? And there needs to be some sort of polarity shift. Now, it doesn't matter if the man or the woman, or I'm speaking from my own experience here in a heterosexual relationship, but apply this either way, whatever gender, there needs to be a masculine energy and a feminine energy. This is not related to your gender, right? This is not related to your sex. The energy, the masculine energy is the one that leads, the one that dominates. The feminine energy is the one that receives, the one that invites, the one that trusts. And together, this polarity creates a whole, right? Your two wholes coming together, but it's this um, beautiful synergy that happens, and you become a team, right? And if you don't have that, if you're in your masculine, that means that you're forcing your husband, your man, your partner into his feminine, which is why he's not initiating in the bedroom, which is why he's shutting down, which is why he's not leading, which is why he's not rising like you want him to, because there's no space for that. So the thing that you want to do is, while it's amazing that you're a high level woman, you're incredible, you're a boss, you're a queen, you're a powerhouse, right? You can, like, absolutely in the business you want to be like that. But if you're like that everywhere, there's energetically there's no space for him to rise. There's no space for him to dominate in the bedroom, right? If you're the one that's always dictating that when you do and when you don't have intimacy, or when you're making love, or if you're the one that's always deciding what to have for dinner, or where to eat, or what groceries to buy, and where to go for holiday, and which kind of accommodation to stay at, right? So the first thing that you want to start doing is letting him make decisions and don't say anything, right? If you say you choose, you can't go back to him with a criticism of what he's chosen, right? Just say, thank you so much, right? If there is a specific desire, obviously you want to communicate that, right? And you can communicate that. I really love to eat at this place. But there's two people in a relationship, right? There is going to be compromise. And, I feel like in business and as high level women, we have these conversations around, I'm not willing to compromise on these things. These are my standards. And at the same time, while it's good to have those standards for ourselves, of course, like the self-respect and the things that we're unwilling to compromise on, in order for the polarity to be balanced in your relationship, there's going to be some things that you will compromise on, right? If he wants to go eat steak or burgers at a pub and watch sports games, and you're like, oh, I would really love to eat at this fine, this Michelin rated fine dining restaurant, but you've always been eating at the places that you choose to eat, right? And you're wanting him to step up. It's these little things that you're doing that are keeping him from leading, that are keeping him from rising, that are keeping him from stepping up. Okay, so when he says that he wants to do something, right, that's when you get to let him lead, and you're teaching him that it is safe, right? You're teaching him that it's safe to make decisions, to lead, to choose things, to make plans, right? And maybe there's an opportunity for you to come together and get together on your values, right? Get together on your aligned vision, so that there are things that, if there's an absolute just hell no from you. You're like, I'm never doing that. I'm never going there. That's your thing, right? Like, of course, there's going to be nuances in this, but as a whole, right, the first thing that you want to start doing is letting him actually just make the decisions and make plans, right? And not interrupting and not criticizing the things that he's doing. It's the biggest thing that we mess up, right? You want to stop micromanaging. Okay, stop trying to, like, if he's doing something, let him do it, even if he does it completely differently, even if it is like not how you do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's triggering you, right? Like, let him do things how he's going to do things. Okay, especially if there is the trust has been broken. Maybe trust isn't the right word here, but if he hasn't felt safe to lead, there's going to be a transition period. There's going to be a moment and a time where it's going to be unfamiliar for him if you don't criticize, if that's how you've always been. Cool. What you also want to do is speak more about your desires rather than your criticisms of him. Right? If you're constantly critiquing or criticizing what he's doing, how he's doing things, about him, right? Instead, like, it's telling him, why don't you lead? Why don't you step up? I want you to do this. Why aren't you rising more? Why aren't you living up to your potential? Right? Like, speak into your desires. I would love it if you could, grab me one night and let me know that you're ready to go to the bedroom. Or, I would love it if you, um, could make plans one night for us for dinner, right? Start little, depending on how much you've been leading and how long this has been going on for. Everyone's obviously gonna be different, but start with these little things, right? I would love it if we could do this. Just leave it at that. See what he does, right? I said something the other day to Dane, and we haven't always been like this, by the way, right? Like, we work on ourselves and we listen to what each other's needs are and desires are. And it's very rare. Like, of course, I mean, we're in relationship coaching now, but it's very rare that we will actually work on the relationship. Both of us just have an agreement that we work on ourselves. And then when we come into any sort of conflict, we each take responsibility for our half in whatever's happening, whatever dynamic thing is going on, that we have those moments where we're working on the relationship, but it's because of all the work that we've done on ourselves. And so I said to Dane recently, I said, I would love for us to just, like, live even more low tox, like organic, just upping our standards on that. It's always been a value of ours, but just really looking at the places where, plastic in our clothing and polyester, and trying to wear more cotton and wool and natural materials. And I don't think this is fully wool, right? But doing our best. Anyway, so I said this to him and he didn't say anything back. And this frustrated me. It frustrated me that he didn't say anything back. He didn't agree with me in the moment, but I didn't say anything, right? I decided not to micromanage, and I decided not to tell him what I wanted him to do in that exact moment. I just said, these are my desires. This is what I would love for us. Next time he goes to the supermarket, he came home yesterday with these organic produce, all organic. He said, I went to the organic store, which is way more inconvenient than going to just the normal grocery store. He said, I went to the organic store and he got all the organic veggies, like I'd said that I desired, and got some low tox dishwashing powder instead of the chemical stuff that we were getting, right? And that little moment there, right? It may seem so insignificant to so many people, but you would be so surprised. That conversation, right? If I was in the micromanagement energy, I would have coached him until I got him to verbally agree with me when we initially had the conversation. But I know that his love language is not words of affirmation, right? Mine is. His is action and service, acts of service. So he didn't respond how I wanted him to in the moment, but he did the action and he listened to that desire. Right now, that's something that we were, his value was budgeting, right? I don't care about budgeting whatsoever. It couldn't interest me whatsoever. He loves that. He loves, like, how can I get things for the price as low as possible, and how can I maximize profits by by decreasing expenses? I'm like, let's just make more money. Like totally different in that. We're complete opposite in that, right? But he heard that and he's like, I know that this is a value of Libby's. I know that this is something that is really important to her. And if it's important to her, right, and we're wanting to start a family, and we've been through a lot of health stuff this year, and so together it's a mutual value, right? Now again, I know it's so small, but it's these little things that we do throughout the day and throughout our conversations and throughout our interactions with our men that create an environment for them to lead more. Cool. So I invite you to look at where in your life, where in your business, where in your communication with him you're micromanaging, where you're not letting him lead, right? Where you are speaking criticisms, and then where you're also trying to control, right? Where you're trying to control what he does, what he wears. This is a big one, right? I've been guilty of this so many times. I'm getting much better. I still slips out of me. And I said to him recently, right? You even said to him recently, I was like, are you really going to wear that? Like, you should change what you're wearing for this thing. And then I was thinking about it after. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, that's old behavior. That's not how I want to be. I take that back. It remind me if I ever try and do that again, and I'm going to do my best. But that's like, sorry, I didn't mean that. I wasn't thinking. Right. So it's not about being perfect. It's about reflecting and really looking at where you get to do better next time, where you get to be more in your feminine energy, less controlling, letting him lead, make decisions, not trying to control anything, not micromanage anything, right? Just let him do that. So, to sum this up, if you want your man to lead more, let him. No controlling, no trying to tell him what to do, right? He's a grown man, he'll figure it out. Let him. I hope this has served you well. I hope this conversation is helpful for you. If it has been, hit subscribe. And if you want to follow along for more relationship content, I help high level women and couples succeed in their marriage and rise in love and intimacy and connection so that they can take their business to the next level and the relationship to the next level. I will see you very soon. Ciao.